EaseDrop. Today it'll just be me and it'll be Evelyn on the phone as she is living her best life, traveling a little bit. So this is EaseDrop, going where the conversation takes us. And today we are going to be discussing, is self-care possible? Uh,
Hello, everyone.
yes, there she is.
Okay, so I thought this would be interesting. So let me tell you guys what is going on with me right now. So right now I am with well, I don't really want to say niece because we're 5 months apart, but I'm with my niece. She's moving from Texas back to North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't normally take vacation, right? So when I do take vacation, it's usually I'm taking time off to do something for somebody else. So to take a real vacation, I'm thinking means you just chill, right? So we started out in Oklahoma. We've been to Dallas. We went to the Dallas Cowboy Panther game, which we're not going to talk about. And we went to New Orleans, right?
Okay.
So last night we spent the night in New Orleans, and I could not sleep. I just could not, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't sleep. So then I kept thinking, I'm forgetting something. And then something Lavanya said, and I was kind of thinking anyway, is I think I don't know how to relax. So I'm working all the time. I'm doing something for somebody else all the time. And because I'm always working, my mind is always going, I'm always moving. I don't know how to sit still. I'm giving up. Some of my self-care stuff was like going to the gym, was running. And since I've been focused on other people, even more than before, I can't even sleep when I'm on vacation because my mind thinks I should be doing something or preparing for the next thing, which kind of reminded me of a conversation you and I had not long ago when you were talking about the people that you know and have their working multiple jobs, even when they have kids, just trying to make ends meet. I think that's kind of what you were telling me.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah, I know there is someone at my job who is working so hard just to get her car out of the shop. And I talk, she says she's picking up double, she's doing whatever she can. And I asked her, does she have any children? She said yes. So I'm not even understanding where the time is coming in to spend with their child. And that's not the first time that's happened. I feel like there's been other instances where I see people so much and so often. And it's like you're around me so much that it doesn't seem like you have children.
Right.
So it's like I don't even see that mom side. I mean, even when I did acting, you see people on the set for hours at a time because acting they demand a lot of your time. And so it's like, where are your children? Because we do this every day and for hours and hours at a time. And then there were some scenes being shot overnight. And so, and it's very unpredictable schedule. So it was just like, I know I'm just me with one person. So, what would it be like when I have children? Like, would I even see them? Would I, would more of my job be to work than to be their mom? And so, but this conversation came about because I'm reading a book currently. It's The Art of Captivating Conversations. Here it is here. And I was reading, if y'all don't mind, I want to read a little bit of this book just to show you the section where the light bulb went off in my head.
Okay.
So, it says we only have to look to human nature to be able to consistently predict where an interaction will go. In fact, we look at a primitive man called George from the year 10,000 BC to see how he still colors our interactions to this day. George is selfish and self-interested. This isn't necessarily a negative trait. It's just that no one else cares about George and his interests the way he does. So he inherently must prioritize himself about everything else. His life is spent looking out for his own survival amongst saber-toothed tigers and poisonous plants. Everyone else is busy doing the same. So it's by necessity that he is selfish and self-interested. He'd rather himself eat and survive than have a friend eat and survive. That's how it works in his world. He spends his time thinking about his problems, his triumphs, his well-being. In the past, he has occasionally put others before himself, but ended up having his arm nearly bitten off. It was a difficult lesson he learned. Nowadays, he concerns himself only with his cave, his food stores, and his collections of spears. And you know what? As bad as it sounds, like this is something that I have been struggling with. Like in the back of my head, I know like this isn't right. Like I work all the time. And anybody in the healthcare knows that that's how it works. Like especially with us being short staffed right now, they want you to pick up and fill in and just do. Like they will kill you if you let them.
Yeah,
And
but I don't know, because what you're saying sounds a little bit different than what you read. So when you were reading, it sounded like the guy learned to be really selfish.
excuse me.
And I've heard people talk about there's a difference between selfish and being self-full, right? Because I think to an extent we have to be selfish only when it means taking care of ourselves, that self-care piece. I think some people like sometimes do the self-care piece like I'm not selfish enough. Okay. But then maybe we can look at selfishness on a spectrum, right? Okay. Where some people are so selfish that they care absolutely nothing about anybody else. Like the world revolves around them. Okay. And then you have the other end of the spectrum where people need to be selfish to the point where they're self-full. So I need to be able, like the women you were talking about, that you didn't even know they had kids. Well, they need to be self-full and take care of themselves so they can take care of their kids, because if they're working all the time, what do they have left to give to their kids besides yelling and screaming at them or leave me alone? Then they don't have the tolerance to deal with the stuff that come with kids, because kids are gonna whine, they're gonna beg, they're gonna do things to get on your nerves, or you're gonna want to sleep, and so now the kids are left up doing who knows what. So if you don't find a way to take care of yourself and some of that, you can't take care of the kids. If anything, it could cause problems for the kids. But as being selfish, yeah, I don't know. That's just what the guy sounded like to me that you were talking about.
I'm still a little confused about the difference. So is it that she's focused her attention so much in one area that she has nothing left? And for him, in the beginning, he's not going to give himself, so it don't matter what.
But I'm sorry. So did you say he didn't care? Maybe you can read that part again. He got to the point where he didn't care about anybody else.
He spends time thinking. What the time he spends his time thinking? Let me see. Which part are you talking about? He. What did I say?
Well, he just can't worry about anybody else.
It's just that no one else cares about George and his interests the way he does, so he inherently must prioritize himself above everything else. But the way that I could connect to that is because, like you said, like you give so much. Well, for the mom, she gives herself in so much in one area that she can't give in another area. It's imbalance, and I think that I get that. It's like when I go to work, I'm dealing with a lot of people. It's a lot of energy to do what I need to do. It's a lot of energy physically. It's a lot of energy mentally. And so it's like that's one section, one little piece of my world. However, there are other sectors that I should be open to. So there are things maybe in my sororities more that I should be doing more. There are things in my friend life that I should be doing more. In my family life that I probably should be doing more. But I'm not, because it's always I have to work. Like I have to work. Like I just want to sit in the house because I'm tired. Like I'm around people all the time. Actually, I went out to eat by myself. I went to a bar. It was actually like a little Mexican restaurant, and I sat at the bar, and this girl I asked, she said, "What do you do?" And I was like, I'm a supervisor in healthcare. And she said, well, I get that. She said, because I run 2 restaurants and I totally get that. She said, you are my spirit animal because I understand like when you deal with a lot of people, like you just want to be by yourself. That's it. And that's not the first time I've heard that from someone. Like you know, so it's like I feel like that's a survival thing to where I have to be selfish. Like I cannot share any like it's like it's survival because work is where my money is, you know?
Right,
Like
right.
overwork,
And
underpaid.
I definitely agree that one, we have to prioritize ourselves, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think we have to care about ourselves. We have to put ourselves first. I guess it's just the word selfish that's kind of messing with me. And maybe we're saying the same thing in different ways. I think I just got stuck on the word selfish. But what I
Mm-hmm.
do like is how you said talked about focusing too much in one area of life. And then you talk
Mm-hmm.
about there being this imbalance.
Yeah.
Because I think life is about balance. Like we have to play, right? We have to work, but
Mm-hmm.
there's multiple areas of life that we have to focus on. So we have our physical being that we have to take care of. Our spiritual being has to be taken care of. Our
Mm-hmm.
social being
Yeah.
has to be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
All those areas have to be taken care of. And right now, the way you're describing it, and sometimes the way I feel, the only area that's being taken care of is, well, I don't even know what you call it. Maybe we throw financial out there, that survival piece where we're just working to eat. We're
Yeah.
working to live. We're
Mm-hmm.
working to pay bills. And because that requires so much focus, there's no spiritual life.
Right.
You know, so I can remember at times getting on the side of the bed on my knees to say my prayers, and I'm waking up,
Right.
and I don't know at what point I fell asleep. It could have been like, dear Lord, I might have been asleep. That might have been all I got out. But it's hard to take care of yourself and life be well balanced
Mm-hmm.
when when there's not affordable housing,
Right.
when there are food deserts, when you
Mm-hmm.
have multiple kids that need food and
Mm-hmm.
clothes and whatever. And I do know we have this extra unemployment money. We have some parents are getting this extra money because they have
Mm-hmm.
kids. I don't know how that works because it doesn't really impact me. But there are still parents out here that don't have that money. So they're working these multiple jobs and there is no balance.
Yeah. And I think that's why, what's that book that I got you that one time that talks about the well-being of the person as a whole? Because I think like when you're out of balance, what was that called? You said in healthcare they're going to start merging. Um,
Integrated care?
yeah, I guess like integrated care because I think it's unhealthy. Like if you just focus over here financially, I think that's why maybe like in the lower class communities, like maybe that's why people like they say there's more crimes there. There's more like going on there
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
because like that's not healthy. You can't just work, 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 but people do it. People
Yeah.
do it, and it's like how?
Like mentally, it's not healthy. So it's not healthy mentally because that's how people become stressed. And when they become stressed, they become overwhelmed. Some people have increased anxiety, other people become depressed. And then when you have all that stress on the body, then you have physical issues.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have back pain, you have headaches, because your body holds that stress.
Mm-hmm.
Your body is holding all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, when we don't have time to take care of ourselves and we need a little relief at times, we do it with food.
Mm-hmm.
So you have people with eating disorders, people overeating, which leads to obesity.
Yeah.
And you have people taking a drink here and there, drugging here and there, just to get a little break.
Yeah.
Let me feel okay. Let me feel good. Give me a break.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, those aren't the ways that we need to take a break because it increases problems in the families, it increases problems in the community, it increases problems in society in general, I think, when we can't take care of ourselves holistically.
Yeah. I mean, if your cup is empty, how are you going to pour into anybody else or do anything for anybody else? Or how are you going to take and put yourself in any other place? How are you going to
I'm sorry. Lavani wanted to add to the conversation.
Okay.
She's driving, so can you hold on?
Okay, yeah.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm glad to be on here today because most of the time when EaseDrop is on, I'm actually working, just like she was saying, or I try to find time to do so. But what I was telling Ellen is I believe that self-care is necessary because even when you think you're helping other people, you're really not because you hadn't taken care of yourself first. So you have to prioritize yourself as first because I mean, and I do think sometimes at the work people start taking advantage of you when you give them too much of your time.
Yes.
And then you're not taking care of yourself. So
you don't have boundaries.
There's no boundaries at all.
And I think it's go ahead.
What I was saying is telling her is that I found my balance when I moved. And I had to prioritize myself first. I was able to go back to school and finish things like that. So and that was the self-care for me because I still would have kept doing things for others and putting my things on the back burner. So I believe it's necessary.
So you said
go ahead, Jeanette.
She said when she moved, that's when things changed. What was it about the move?
Yeah. Not the move is that I wasn't surrounded by, I want to say it like this, needy people.
Okay.
I mean, and that's how I look at it now. It was needy because if you're around, I think people are gonna take advantage of it. So it took me stepping away from everything, the busy things that I thought I had to do. I had to step away from it and say, hey, look, you're not going to be able to really give your full potential to someone else if you aren't taking care of yourself first. So I think it's necessary.
Yeah.
You know what? I wonder if when she moved, she had to focus on herself because now you got to have a place to live. Now you got to orient to your new environment. Now you got to make new friends. Because I think sometimes what happens is, like, even in my situation, I've been living in the same house for 20 years now. So my day is, monotonous. Like, and I get up and my day kind of repeats, right? But when you move away or change environments, then you have to adjust. So now you're not in autopilot anymore. Now you really have to think about what you're doing and what you need, and as opposed to everybody else. Because when you're in autopilot, I think it's easy for people to just step right in and ask for what they need. And because you're not doing anything else, you learn to take care, not necessarily take care of yourself, but you learn to live a certain way. And that's become okay when it's not okay.
Well, I think another part of it too is that once you set an expectation and you set the tone of a relationship, it's hard to kind of sometimes switch over. It's like if I give you $200 a month, and then now I say I'm not gonna give you $200 a month anymore. I'm just gonna give you $15. Somebody will be like, "What's up with you? Why are you acting different? Why are you acting funny? Wait a minute." Then it'll be problems, I think, in a relationship, depending on, the situation. But I think when people are used to getting a certain you and a certain amount of you, then I think it's hard to switch over. So I feel like making a move is probably something that is what turned a new leaf over in that situation. I mean, part of, the reasoning.
But now, what I was telling her is when I come home, I still want to keep that balance that I have. I want to travel more. I want to, don't feel like I'm stuck.
Mm. So how do you plan on keeping that balance? Is it,
I am still going to prioritize myself first. Okay. I mean, I've already made up in my mind. I mean, like I say, there's no need in giving half to somebody or just giving them, throw them, a bone or whatever you want to call it. It's so, I mean, people will take advantage of you. I'm sorry, but people will take advantage of you. And I know you said selfish. Sometimes I think the people that you are taking care of or the gimme and all that kind of stuff, they're selfish. Yeah. So it's not you and selfish, they selfish.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I think it's up to us to kind of not allow them to be selfish. Like, don't allow them to be selfish on your terms. So it's like, I think maybe that then becomes a boundary issue. Hi, Tanisha D. Harris. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. So we're talking about self-care. Is self-care possible? So yeah. So I think some of the steps that I'm taking now that I realize that, okay, this needs to change. I'm looking at, getting into more of people's business, seeing what's going on with my friends, see, like, really be a part of their lives. Like, I want my friends to just be able to come over and say, hey, we hang out, anytime, the week. Like, I have a life, but, I want them to be able to drop in. I want to be able to drop in on them. Like, I want to be, if I can do something for somebody, during the week. Like, I just want to be that person. I don't want to be now, I know there are some people who are go-to people and then they get drained and tired. And I know I had a friend talk about this, that people come over her house and stuff, and they just need to cry and they dump all their emotions and their feelings in the area because it's a safe place, which is a good calling. It's a good position to have, like a good place to have in people's lives, because people need that. But then you have to set those boundaries. And so I think that I'm going to begin to spread myself in certain areas. And I know, like, I'm starting over, like, the art of captivating conversation. Like, first of all, you don't even talk to people like that no more. Like, if it ain't business or something like that, like, it's even no pleasure talk. So I'm just looking into like even how to have a conversation with somebody. Like, let's start over and let's begin to build my relationships with people, because the relationships are more important. It's, more than money. I think my purpose here on earth, like the people that I touch here on earth, that's a lot more important to me. That's becoming a lot more important to me. Now, work is working itself out. That's not anything I'm worried about. I just got, a really good job. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. He is so good to me. But everything is working itself out. And I just have to know in my mind, I have to pay attention to those signs in my mind that says, okay, you need balance. And I'm going in that direction. And how am I doing that? Part of that too is I'm looking into clubs. What are the clubs around me? What are my self-interests? What am I interested in that I could participate in? Like, I love church. I'm a very spiritual person, and that's something I want to do. I actually went, haven't been in church in a while, due to COVID and stuff like that. And I finally went, and I found one that I feel really good about. And I'm very particular about my stuff spiritually, so I'm always like questioning. But this time, like, I felt really good, and I'm like, wow, so I immediately started looking into the opportunities that they have as far as like volunteering and stuff. So that's my interest. So that's what I'm kind of doing. Those are the starter steps of, just relearning how to walk again, like how to have that relationship with people just on a regular level, and with the meaning and stuff behind it. So I'm having to, as crazy as it sounds, I'm having to research it and study it. Like, I'm having to study, like, how are we going to do this? Because you need to get back into it. Like, I know how to talk to people, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm really just focusing in that direction, and then it will unfold and happen.
So you're talking about relearning how to have conversations with people, which is kind of interesting because I remember you said it once on one of the EaseDrop shows, and then I heard it somewhere else where they were saying because of COVID, people became comfortable with being alone, but we're not built that way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like people need people.
Yeah.
So so at some point we're gonna have to get back and balance. We can't be with people all the time, but we can't be alone all the time either.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And I feel like even though like I go to work, I still feel like I'm alone. It's not like it's like I deal with a lot of people, but I'm not spending time with people. Like I'm not relating to people. I'm not getting that social aspect with people, because I'm a like I said, healthcare like it demands a lot. What I do, especially as a supervisor, I'm here, I'm there. They want to know about this, they want to know about that. So I'm handling things as they come at me. It's not like I even at work, I don't even feel like I have the time to get to know. Like I do get to know the people there, but it's like an extra. It's something I have to be mindful of to make sure that I do it, because
So
it's like slow down and listen to what they're saying. It's like slow down right now, even though you don't have the time, even though you got stuff to do. What are they, what what do they want? Like if outside of like business, because there are things. Of course, I'm gonna listen. We got this to accomplish. How are we handling this? That's one thing, but like somebody say, well, I'm not my boyfriend anymore. Okay, why is that? Like, I'm busy right now, but this is an important aspect of just getting to know people and stuff. And it's a relief in it. When I make myself do it, there is something relieving in it.
yeah. So actually not just being around people, not just taking up the same space, but taking time to actually establish a real relationship where
Mm-hmm.
you're bonded, where
Mm-hmm.
there's some trust, where
Yeah.
there's some vulnerability.
Yeah. That's why I feel like, if work is the only thing that I'm focused on and there's no social in it, then I'm left with no social life. Like I'm left with nothing, like, there's a lot missing there. And I feel like a lot of people, well, it depends on, like what you do. That, that could
Yeah.
be the same case for other people because, I think sometimes it depends on the environment you work in. Like you can only share but so much. You can only open up but so much. And so like they I know that when I first started working, they said the people at work are not your friends. No, do not get this twisted. Like your coworkers are your coworkers. So where's the friend part come in? Where's the social part come in? Because I don't think you should be at work telling your business about like, some of the triumphs and some of the things that you were going through and that you need help through. Like I don't think that should be shared at work. So um I think it's important to find your hobbies and find your niche. Where is your place outside of work? Where's your place in your home, in your amongst your family? Like that spiritual, like you said, that spiritual life. Like how do you balance it all? And I think I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm here to give you the answer or that I have the answer, but here, this is where I am in my journey, and this is like I'm not balanced, and I'm telling you it's not good. And so what I'm saying is these are the steps that I'm taking, and that's just kind of figuring it out through. First of all, let's break it down into baby steps. Let's restudy this social part, and let's make sure that we're mental of it. I think you have to be mindful of certain. When you want to change something, I think it first starts here, like in your head. You have to think about it. And so I focus my attention that way because I intend to make that a priority in my life. And that's just how I started up and get it together.
Yeah. But it sounds like, or I don't know about sounds like, but I'm wondering as you're talking if there needs to be some alignment between your intentions and your social circle. You know what I mean? Like if you're with people who don't have similar goals and dreams and visions, or does that work? So, for example, like I don't have to be around other therapists that want to do what I want to do, but like you have your goals, and you're in a different field and you have your goals. So they're not exactly the same, but we're both trying to reach a different level. You understand
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you're not with people who have a like mind, not necessarily as that same goal, but the like mind,
Right.
could that not be a problem?
Yeah, that could be. Somebody was telling me yesterday that it's so easy for people to get stuck like where I am. And because a lot of people, they say, "Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it. I want to, I want to get out of this." Or they assume that when I tell them, I had somebody assume that I got another job doing the same thing, because that's what most people do. They move from this job, and they go right into the same position, not ever
Lateral.
thinking lateral. They never think of moving up. They never think that. But she never asked the question, did I move up? Was this a move that I'm, like, what position did you get? No, she just assumed it was the same thing, because that's what a lot of people do. That's, in this area. So, and let me
I
know.
wonder if that's kind of like what Lavanya was talking about, though, because she said she had to move away to start doing things differently, to focus on herself. So I wonder if once you get into that mindset that this is who I am, this is what I do,
Mm-hmm.
then life just becomes that monotony, even when you change jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if someone in that same position, if they moved away, let's say to another state, although it's the same position, I wonder if they wouldn't modify a little bit, because now they're around different people, they got to learn different people,
Mm-hmm.
and then just in different states, the culture is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if sometimes, again, there's that necessity for real change, even if you don't change positions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very true. I think that when you move and you make it up in your mind, like when you're able to see something for the first time, and it's like, I have been going without this. And then you see it, and you see what difference it can make, and that you see that you don't have to suffer or be without something that's causing some sort of emptiness or whatever. I think once you see it, it becomes a priority. Like, sometimes it becomes that priority, because like, you need that. That's not something that, self-care, 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 we hear it all the time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, yeah, when it's affecting your life and really your mentality, like, it all works together. Like we said, the mental, the what you call integrated health, it affects your health. When your head ain't right, another part of your body ain't right. When you know, that when the muscles in your lower back are tight, when the muscles in your hips are tight, it affects your upper muscles, because guess what? They're all connected. So if you have tight hips, you have to stretch your tight hips to loosen up your upper back. And that's how it is, the integrated health. If you don't have a balance in your life, it's gonna affect you. You're gonna feel it. And you just gotta figure out where that problem is, and make that, your that solution the priority. So yeah. So that's where I am in my life. So what about you? You're kind of the opposite of, your self-care has gone so much to so many places. Mine has been in one place. So it's like I've abandoned everything else. But for you, it sounds like you're spread so thin, when with your energy given to everybody in the different various areas of your life. Are you still here? Hello?
Sorry, I was muted. We're still here.
Oh, okay. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I did. You were talking about me being spread thin and your focus being on one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it still comes back to balance. So you said your focus is in one area. And I think what happens is, maybe we can divide that social piece up into smaller pieces. You understand what I mean? So, like, I have some social pieces, but the people around me socially sometimes aren't people that I'm equal to. That makes sense?
Yeah.
I'm not equal to them in that maybe sometimes I have a little more to offer than they have to give to me.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways. And I don't want, and I don't mean money. You understand? Because sometimes you have those people, if they don't want money, then sometimes maybe they want to call you because they need your time, or they need you to do this, or they need you to hear out this problem that they have. But then when you need to be heard, they're not available.
Right.
Or they don't have anything to say, or they just don't really seem interested. So socially, I have multiple people involved, in my life, but they're not equal relationships. So socially, I'm spread thin because I have work and I have multiple things that I'm doing, but then I also have the social piece that I'm addressing. But the question is the social aspects of my life healthy?
Well,
I was would be the question.
When you were talking, I was thinking they may give unequally, but should you expect them to? It's like working with people or being around people who don't give me as much as I give them. I still learn from them, like I still take from them in a way that I can see. Like I feel like some people
about work, right?
Huh?
You talking about work?
Just either way, like in any relationship that's unbalanced, I feel like, well, you know what? It is a difference, huh? Like at work, I guess it is different from like social, because your social, you choose it. Like you choose more so who you are around. So yeah, I guess that is different. So
because what I'm thinking as far as socially is like, so you have family, right? Well, everybody has family. Well, most people have family, right? And sometimes everyone in your family isn't equal to you, or don't offer you the same kind of stuff that you offer them equally, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But then I guess that has to be balanced with maybe friends who can be there for you when maybe other people can't be. Are you following me?
But does that go back to thinking about his problems, his triumphs, his well-being? Like, because then what do you focus it off of? Like, I mean, I guess.
Say that again.
Does that go towards George thinking about his problems, his triumphs, and his well-being? Because it's like, do we think about, when we think about a social circle, what can I give to them?
I think a social circle has to be some give and take. But if you find yourself giving more than you're taking, does there need to be some reevaluation? But at the same time, though, we have different relationships. Like, okay, so I don't expect you or Ivana, I don't expect my offspring to give me as much as I give them. It's just the nature of the relationship. It's the nature of being a parent versus being a child, right?
Right.
Not that the parent shouldn't set some boundaries, because as the child gets older, the child can do some things for themselves that maybe they couldn't when they were younger.
Right.
So, but the nature of that relationship isn't going to always be equal, just because that's the relationship.
Right.
But then when you talk about a sibling, like a brother and a sister, or a sister and a sister, brother and a brother, should we expect those relationships to be more equal? But then it gets even more complicated when, you have a sibling who's significantly older or younger than you. That makes that a little challenging, because I don't know. Lavanya said, or if they have different moms and dads, but what I'm saying is, regardless of who their fathers or their mothers are, our relationship as sisters, should I expect one sister to give more than another sister because they have a different parent? I don't think so. I think I have to decide, should I expect my sister to be there as much for me as I am for her. So then we have to, again, just look at the nature of the relationships. And even that may change depending on what culture you're in. I don't know.
Well, I don't necessarily think that based on the title of the person, other than the parent and the child,
Okay.
I don't think that any other title matters. So whether you're a sibling or whatever, if the relationship, I feel like the relationship is the relationship. And if there's no should be's, could be's, better be's, needs to be, have to be's. I think the relationship is what it is. And I feel like that's why so many people go and create their own relationships. And they say, well, this is my family. This is my family. And they claim, like, people who they've kind of adopted into their lives, and they've adopted, just, they've chosen to give their loyalty over to people because they know that this bond is so strong. This give and take is so strong. I love you just as much as you love me, and like I know you got my back. And I feel like that's why people create those families. So I don't for I think in today's where I don't think titles really mean anything, because I know people that would be like, I don't care if you family, I don't care this and that. Like, I feel like titles don't really mean as much as they used to, as far as like, the expectations. Other than like
So,
the parent, the grandparent situation.
so are you saying that there can be unhealthy sibling relationships, right? Unhealthy sister, brother, sister, or whatever.
But what will make it unhealthy? Why is it unhealthy? Why is there an
Where
expectation that
where you have like where Lavanya was saying, where one person is always asking and the other one's always giving, to the point of where maybe somebody's taking advantage of the other.
well, I feel like just because they're your sibling don't mean you have to have them in your life. And if they're taking advantage, if there's any negativity with a person that's bringing you down, it's self-care is prioritized. Like if you know that this is not a good situation for you, and they know, oh, we siblings, so it's gonna be this way. Nah, that's not how that works. And I think it's up
Right.
to you to let them know that. Like, I'm choosing to have you in my life. And that's an option. That's an option for
Right.
you. And just how it's an option for me to be in your life. And so you let me know and I'll let you know. But I don't think that you are obligated to do anything. If you gonna leech off me, then you can go figure something else out and then come back when you get it, when something change. So
Right. Yeah, but that's what I was saying about, you have the big umbrella of social life, but then you have those categories underneath that because you do have family. So sometimes families contribute to that social life and sometimes they don't. But the truth is, a lot of times in families, you do have some making sacrifices more so than others because, again, depends on how you define family in your family and in your culture.
mm-hmm.
That makes
That's
yeah.
true. That's true. The culture of the family and the dynamics and the traditions, and like, if you grew up in that way. But I feel like a lot of times today people don't respect that. I don't know. Like we just kind of, I feel like times have changed, but there are people who are still traditional and they still hold strong to
Yeah.
the family dynamic and do what's expected of them. But I know, that can make for some unhappy people too. Like
Yeah,
it's
it does.
like some people
But
feel stuck and feel obligated, and some people have chosen to break out of that and do what they want to do.
yeah, I agree. And I think when we focus too much in tradition and we don't question it, whether it's family traditions, religious traditions,
Mm-hmm.
work traditions, even like work is changing now where
Yep.
I've heard many people say, and we've talked about this, people don't stay at one job forever anymore.
Mm-mm.
Like where they want to get that one job and move up in the company, retire from that company so they get a pension and all that. Because now we have people wanting to do their own thing. And
Mm-hmm.
some of the reason they want to do their own thing is for self-care reasons.
Yep.
People want to telework. Like there's a lady with our company, she just had her first child. She's a little bit older. She wants to be home to take care of her child.
Mm-hmm.
She wants that flexibility, so she found a job that's going to allow her to work from home.
Mm-hmm.
You have people doing Instacart, DoorDash, figure out how they can make as much money doing that as they are, with their regular job, but they have the flexibility. They make their own schedule. They don't have to ask anybody for time off.
Right.
So I think some people are figuring out how to take care of themselves financially and still, be able to work. But it means stepping out of those traditional jobs.
Yeah. I think it's because of COVID, the side effects of COVID, the job industry is changing. People are becoming more independent in their thinking in the way that, they're no longer allowing corporate to control them and what they can and can't do. And we're not asking permission anymore. We're not. And we're going to feel like and entrepreneurship has been, I think, something that's really, really, really on the rise. Because it's like, okay, what do we have to do? People like, and even college, like I told you, college is changing. They got they got these certifications and programs where you can go figure out how to do what you need to do to get the job, not go all these years and let's not even get into that lollygag that you have to go through in college. I mean, it's not all the way necessary. It just depends on what field you can get to. But why, we have more programs, which makes sense. We have more programs that says, hey, here's how you do the job. Boom, go get a job. Set your resume up.
Specifically on teaching people how to do the job that they want to do versus 4-year college, where those first 2 years it's just general college. You just learning a bunch of stuff. And sometimes it has nothing to do with what you want to do when you graduate.
Right. But, as much as I feel like, dang, like, got a degree. But it really helps because some jobs, they say you have to have your degree.
Yeah. It just depends on what you want to do. But see, that's what I'm thinking, though. It used to be one road to multiple places. Now there are multiple roads to multiple places. So people are now able to make money, real money they can live off of without a 4-year degree. Not that a 4-year degree isn't necessary for some things, but college never has been for everybody.
Exactly. There's so many options now, and we were somebody was talking about this, but there's so many options everywhere. Like, and that's like becoming a problem because nobody wants to commit to anything anymore. It's like even in relationships, it's like there's so many options that even guys are just putting themselves out here. Like, yeah, I want multiple women. Like, do you want to be a part? No. Like, do you want to be one of my girlfriends? Like, there's so many options and there's so many things out here now, and there's so many ways to make a way to live whatever life you want to live.
And at the foundation of all of that, we think we'll find things. That's where people are claiming their self-care.
Yeah, people are they are saying this is what I want. Now this is how I realize this is my inner self showing itself, and everybody's just kind of going after what they want. Like nobody's kind of settling anymore. But does that just make us butterflies? It's all floating. Okay, I want this, and float over here. I want this, float over here. Okay. And then, like, how does that affect? How would that change us as a society if everybody's just kind of going where they please? I think it will make a happier society with people doing what they want to do and being able to attain the things that they want to obtain. But what about traditions and customs? Like, what happens when all of that goes out the window?
And doesn't need to go out the window because it sometimes as we talk and I think about some things, I think some customs and traditions are barriers and hindrances for some people.
Yeah, that's true. But like, I don't know. It's just like when I think of dating, it's like anything goes, and it's like people don't understand like important foundations of a relationship because anything goes. And it's like when I feel like if we're not on the same page with certain stuff, and so that's going to be passed down to children and passed down to their children, and now nobody even knows how this is even supposed to work. So where are we going with this?
Yeah.
And I feel like that in all areas, in work and faith, like how are we gonna be on the same page with anything? Because I feel like a culture is built on agreement. We agree this is how we want to do things, but nobody's in agreement on how we want to do things. Like, it just is whatever anybody wants.
Yeah, and I guess the thing is there are options. So if you want to do what this group is doing, then you do what that group is doing, because then all of you are in agreement. You just don't agree with that group next to you.
Right.
So there's still some agreement. And I know it's about time to go, but I was gonna say, as far as the relationship thing, somebody, I think maybe on the radio or something, they were pointing out how, well, in Africa they think the standard custom was that men would take multiple wives.
Mm-hmm.
And when the slaves came over to America, that's when that custom was challenged. So now some people are going back to where they want to be in a relationship with multiple people. And so the person was kind of laughing and saying, so your boyfriend might just say, look, I'm trying to take us back to our roots with having multiple relationships. Of course, they were kind of joking, but not joking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I think we talked about, I think the foundation of a lot of what we talked about is self-care. People trying to figure out how to be happy and take care of themselves, and tired of people outside of them, controlling that.
Yeah. They're creating their own paths and their own ways, and they're figuring out how to do it. And I think it's really the technology that allows us to do that. Technology puts everything everywhere and so fast. And so all you got to do is make a decision and make a choice on how you want to get it done. And then you can have whatever you want. So, yep. Make a decision and you can choose how you want to live your life with no boundaries. And that's a part of taking care of yourself. It's knowing what you want and going after it. So do you want to tell them about you want to tell them about Promise Resource Network? Follow them. What do they need to do? Follow them.
But if you would like to support Promise Resource Network, then please do so. They take donations. They do a lot of work in the community. And I'm assuming if you're listening to this, then you have access to their Facebook page, and there hopefully is some information on what you can do to assist. And I want to say this, that I think it's the last Friday of every month that they have a gathering where persons in recovery can get together. I went the last Friday in September. It was really nice. There was spoken word, there was poetry, there was clay modeling, there was painting, there was a lot. It was really nice. So please consider attending and joining them in that. And I want to also thank our unexpected guest, Miss Lavanya, for sharing her thoughts with us. We truly appreciate that. Thank you. Of course, I can't see in the chat, so I don't know how that's going. I know we didn't advertise on Facebook, tonight, but we'll share. But for those that did remember and joined in with us, we appreciate you.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. All right, don't forget to get in the mindset of taking. Don't forget to get in the mindset of taking care of yourself. Remember, pay attention to what you like, and if you are too much in one area, if you spread yourself too thin, reevaluate and see how you can make that adjustment. It's so easy. There's so many options, and there's so many ways to get done what you need to get done. So take the proper, do what works for you, and that's it. That's it. I think you do that, and you'll have a happier life. That's my goal. All right. So, huh?
Good night.
Good night.